Cool. Well, first of all, thanks, Chris, for joining the session today about call tracking. So today we'll be talking about the future of paid media and especially the future of call tracking. Call tracking has been evolving in the last few years, and analyzing the quality of the leads is paramount for us at Passion. And we've been using your software for a while now, and we want to hear more about your thoughts on how this will change in the future.
Great, yeah, thanks for having me, Alex. So I guess just to introduce myself, I'm Head of Insights at Infinity. So I head up a team of business analysts who consult for our customers across our platform. So that includes call tracking, but other elements of call intelligence as well. So yes, as you said, so Infinity is a call intelligence tool essentially. So we provide visibility of the customer journey, both before the call, during the call, and after the call. So our aim is to, as you said, Alex, provide the data to enable better decision making.
Brilliant. So you're actually the right person to talk about this today. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
So let's start just to explain to the audience, like what is call tracking and why is it important to the businesses?
Essentially, it's a technology that enables marketing teams to tie a call made into a business to activity online. So that's campaigns, channels, keywords, or any kind of paid media, and you're essentially attributing a call made into the business to marketing activity. So this is done by serving up unique tracking numbers and linking these tracking numbers to your marketing campaigns. So ultimately, what that enables a marketing team to do is to understand, what is the activity that's leading to customers placing that call in the first place. So very frequently, I mentioned as well, so that's the kind of the before the call part that we track. I mentioned that we also look at after the call. So very frequently we see marketers tie, when that call's being placed, what was the outcome of that conversation? So that might be tying a conversion from a CRM to the call, so that you can essentially attribute, top of funnel, we've generated a call into the business through our marketing activity, and we've resulted in an outcome that we can then attribute again.
That's perfect. That's exactly what business needs today then, is to really have that feedback loop from the person calling onto the CRM and really attributing basically the leads.
Exactly, yes. So I mean, we know that, especially this year, budgets are getting tighter. So I think we've seen about 50% of CFOs who've slashed budgets this year, marketers. So it's always been important, but now it's more important than ever for marketers to make sure that they're spending wisely and investing in the right areas. So as I said, we're all about providing the data to enable that smarter decision making. So you're clearing up those blind spots around what is our activity actually driving, and ultimately as well, it enables marketing teams to attribute ROI and sort of take credit for the good work that's been done as well. We've driven these leads and these outcomes based on this amount of spend and this particular activity.
That's perfect. That's great. So you mentioned data a few times here and collecting this information. So obviously in the last few years, there's a lot of clampdown on data, GDPR and so forth. We used to have a lot of it. Now we tend to have a lot less of it. So how do you see that evolving in this market in call tracking? It's getting more and more complex. People don't want to share their data. So how do you see the market evolving and the evolution of call tracking with these changes in the analytics space?
So I guess the first area that we're very conscious of is, as you say, like the complexity now. So the landscape is becoming more complex. So we've very much got an eye on omnichannel as a common customer journey, common experience. We know that a lot of customer journeys, most customer journeys aren't online only. So we know that there are multiple touch points through various channels. So whilst the phone call remains a really important touch point for customers, and we know that they're also really high value touch points. I think I've seen studies where they're about 10 to 15 times more likely to convert on a phone call than through any other channel.
That's good to know.
So we know that the phone call is still important. Having said that, and as I've said, having the data and the visibility of the customer journey is super important for making smarter decisions. So One area that I see changing rapidly is the move into omnichannel, making sure that you've got visibility of more of the customer journey, more data points to make those smarter decisions. So I guess that's number one. And the other area is for the call journey itself. So taking a lens on that is to understand more about the content of that conversation. So you can understand, this is a bit of a game changer really. So you can understand the sentiment of the caller, look at different types of conversions in a conversation. If you're not using technologies like this, or omnichannel conversation analytics, there's a risk of being left behind as a marketing team, because you haven't got the visibility that others will have to help guide their campaigns. So that's, I guess, a core area that I see changing in the next few years.
Perfect. Cool. So you see a bright future to call tracking, even though all the cookie policy is changing and blockages everywhere. You can see that it's still going to thrive, and people still actually even more than before need to get on it.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're obviously very aware of the changing landscape in cookie worlds. Yeah. So we're essentially making sure that our tech stack continues to perform in that evolving landscape. And as you say, as we move into the third-party cookieless world in 2024, it's still going to be more important than ever to make sure you have the right tools and tech so that you can track those customer journeys.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you. Right. So now we have a question about something that's very interesting, and I know everybody's starting to understand a bit more about it, is pitch analytics. So me, myself, being a nerd in all things new, I'd love to hear a bit more about pitch analytics and how you use it to understand the sentiment and to avoid going through calls yourself day in, day out, like we used to do back in the day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you share that sentiment, Alex, because it's my favourite topic to talk about is speech analytics. So at Infinity, we call it conversation analytics. That's the name of our product in the Infinity platform. So conversation analytics is an AI-powered piece of tech that monitors customer conversations at scale. So you kind of hit the nail on the head, Alex, when you said you don't want to be listening to calls. Obviously, that's time-consuming, resource-intensive. The other downside of it is that it's a small sample size. There's only so many calls you can listen to. So one of the key benefits of conversation analytics is that it's automated across 100% of your conversations. So that gives you true visibility on what's happening in all the conversations coming into your call center or business. So what it can do essentially is pick up on the sentiment, the key talking points, the intent of the caller, and any positive outcomes within a conversation. So it may be as simple as identifying this is a real lead that's been driven in. So with just call tracking, we're identifying that a call's being placed, and we may be able to say it was a certain duration, so we think there was a reasonably good conversation being held there. Conversation analytics takes that to a whole other level where you can say, this was a lead, and in fact it was a very, very hot lead. So this is one that we're really pleased to have driven through our marketing activity. On top of that, you can start to identify mid-funnel outcomes that may not be captured within a CRM. So this is something that we do with a lot of our customers, where it might be something as simple as making a booking, for example. They're quite frequently not captured within CRM. So ultimately, the conversion, the sale at the end of the appointment may be captured, but the appointment actually being made may not be.
So the whole journey whole journey is captured and then brought back to the CRM.
Exactly. So what we're all about with conversation analytics is giving you more visibility of that sales funnel, essentially. So how much is coming in at the top of the funnel as an actual sales lead? In the middle, how much sort of mid funnel conversion do we get, and then at the bottom, as I said before, we can then take data from a CRM to attach an actual sales outcome to the conversation. So that's like the key areas, I guess, for marketers. And then I guess on top of that, you get all the fantastic other stuff. I've got this big bucket of stuff called other. That is this whole other avenue around sentiment and what your customers feel about your brand. That could be something as simple as tracking how often they're talking about your competitors and in what context. You know, they're talking about pricing or their product offering. And it essentially enables a marketer to understand how is your brand messaging resonating with customers. So is it driving the type of conversations and the type of leads that you want essentially into the business?
So that could be useful for sales, but it can be also used for customer success management afterwards in the sentiment of those calls placed to keep your clients happy. So not only acquiring them, but keep them happy and making sure that you're providing the best service, but listening to their tone in the calls and making, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I understood it correctly. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you know, you're touching on a key point here, Alex, because I guess there's almost a de-siloing effect of conversation analytics, because you can see how this really applies to customer service, contact center managers as well, where you might bring those types of stakeholders into the conversation, because you're absolutely right. You know, we're moving away from looking at customer reviews online. You know, well, I say moving away from solely relying on customer reviews online. You know, maybe focus groups, which can be, again, quite small sample sized and sometimes a bit biased. Here you're hearing it from the horse's mouth, essentially. You know, what do customers really think about the brand and about the processes, any friction that they may experience in their customer journey. You can bet that if it's something that's irritating them, they'll likely tell you in a phone conversation.
That's the first thing they would say.
Exactly.
And all of this is easy to use, I suppose, because when we talk about people about AI and all this, that's a bit daunting. Maybe I don't want to train a model. I don't do this. And all of this is in your platform, like easy to use, plug and play, and you can just easy to do it.
Exactly. So there is some setup required. That's exactly what my team is there for. So we're all experts in conversation analytics, so we can guide customers through the setup. We do have out of the box packs for if you're really interested in customer sentiment, we can drop in and away you go.
It's all done.
Analyzing that stuff. It's all done. Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I can see that you're clearly passionate about this, and no, I think it's going to be big, and people will use it a lot. Clients will use it a lot more. We do it for clients, and the feedback is always, it's good to finally know what's happening on calls, because before it was just duration more than 30 seconds. Great, consider that lead, but this is so 5 years ago. So it's good to have the next stage on it. Perfect, thank you. So I've got a question for you, but it's going to be probably a short answer. If you have one recommendation, not many, there's the one thing you think clients, companies, agencies should do in the future to get on the train, basically.
So I would say prioritize performance measurement. So ensure that you have the data to make these smarter decisions. It's super important. And essentially, if you're not doing that, you are at risk of being left behind in this evolving landscape. So as we've said, that might be visibility across the entire customer journey, visibility of brand sentiment, and what your customers are really thinking. These are all data points that you can use to more finely tune your campaigns and your messaging out to the world to try and drive leads into a business. So if I was to sum it up, I would say performance measurement is the key, and make sure you have the data to do that.
Get your data in order.
Exactly.
Before it's too late.
That's
Perfect. Amazing. Well, that was a great chat. Thank you so much, Chris, for all of this. It's been very insightful, and I'm sure a lot of people will find it as well very insightful. Hopefully we'll get to do more projects using speech analytics.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. Cheers, Alex.
Perfect. Thank you.